You're listening to Slick Talk, the hospitality podcast, a podcast for those who are in and around the hospitality industry who love, live, and breathe what they do. You can join us for candid and unscripted conversations with hospitality experts and founders as we go deeper into their personal stories while they're sharing their triumphs and trials that got them to where they are today. I'm your host, Will Slickers, and you're listening to an episode of Slick Talk, the hospitality podcast. Now, let's begin. Oh, there we go. Helps if I unmute myself. All right, everybody. Welcome back to Slick Talk, the hospitality podcast. I'm super excited. We have another amazing founder to interview on the podcast. So, Assaf, how are you doing, my friend? And welcome all the way from Hawaii. I love, I think you're probably my second or maybe my first actual recording guest that is in Hawaii. How are you doing today?
Hi, Will. Thanks for having me on the show today. Really a pleasure to be here.
Of course. Well, I'm excited to just jump right in. You and I got introduced to your team, actually. They said they reached out and was like, hey, you know what? Assaf would be a great guest. Let's get him on the show. And after having our pre-interview, you are a great guest, and I'm excited to hear your story. So let's jump in. You are the founder of TurnoverBnB. For those who don't know what TurnoverBnB is, the easiest way to describe it is an app and a marketplace for housekeepers and property managers or hosts to connect and sync and automate their turnover days via their calendar, whether it's Airbnb or through a property management software. So I would love to hear how this all started. How did you get into this crazy industry that we call vacation rentals and create the business that you have today?
Yeah, it's a great introduction, Will. And, the way I got started is I was hosting and was, I got into it thinking, passive income is going to be easy, just going to be like making money, doing nothing. But that's, it's been everything but passive, just so involved. And I found it, that the most involved part was not the guest part, but really like the cleaning, coordinating cleaning, finding the cleaning, just everything around it. It was just so time consuming. So I figured being a software engineer by training, having built apps before, like, okay, I'm just going to build an app and, I'm just going to automate the shit out of it, which I did. And it solved my personal problems. And I've decided, I'm just going to put it out to the community and just let people, enjoy it. And I put it out there and just immediately got a lot of people using it. Wasn't planning on making it into a big business or anything. Just let people use it. But it turned out that it was just so demanding.
Yeah.
People's expectations were like through the roof. And I figured that, as a hobby, this is not fun, right? Just like dealing with people complaining and demanding more and more things. I just wasn't able to put in the time to do that as a hobby. So I decided to go into it as a business. I remember the early days, I would kind of bang out features on my own. I would also man the customer service bubble. People would click on the bubble, be like, hey, like, can you do that? And I'd be like, yeah, let me go into the code, change it, and kind of make it happen like live as they were chatting with me. And obviously these days are long gone. If you go to our website, I'm probably not going to be the one handling the kind of customer service bubble. But it was a great experience, just learning kind of unfiltered, unmediated conversation with the users and what they want and their pain points was just such a great learning experience for me. And, just eating your own dog food, as they say, just using your own product to solve your own problems,
Yeah,
also gives you a great perspective.
for sure. And how many properties were you running when you created TurnoverBnB? Was it just one, and you wanted to help kind of automate that, or did you have a couple that you were?
Just one of mine and a couple for, for a friend.
Yeah.
So it really wasn't that many, and the problems were compounding
Mhm.
very quickly.
Yeah. Well, it's just funny how, this day and age, if you look at it, like our parents, when they had a problem, they could never really say, let's create an app. We will just create an app for it. Nowadays, it's like, if you want to do something or know something, you usually say, let's create an app. Or a lot of the times I get, let's create a podcast. This is a great idea. And so I love that you went down that road of just, hey, I have a problem. I'm tired of turnover days, being, such a time suck. Let me just solve this problem by creating an app. And I think I see a common similarity between founders, whether it's in the vacation rental industry or if it's outside of that. You have Jeff Bezos, for example, which was he like you would get a problem, he would handle the customer service side, and then he would be like, hey, let's just code it differently and make this feature work, or make a new feature instantaneously as the feedback was coming in from the audience or from the user. So I think it's really cool that, when you're starting out doing it, you're doing everything, to where now you have a team, and you're probably more out of the day-to-day side of the operations on the product, but more on the how are we going to grow and create this vision. So what were the next steps after you've created this, when you turn it to a business, instead of a hobby? What were the fundamental changes that you created within the company, to start doing immediately to get to where you guys are today?
So, I didn't start it alone. I have a, co-founder that, is a good friend of mine, and we went into this together kind of at the beginning. And I think it made, was a really wise decision. We make a lot of decisions together, and we're kind of long-term running mates, being able to, to share a lot of the glory, but also the hard times of bringing money from home, and working late nights together. I think it's a great way to do something, is to do it with someone that you trust.
Sure.
Um, like initially, I was the you know a one man show with like or a two-man show with being just one developer, and then slowly, as we got more feedback, as we got more traction, we've hired a great development team and design team, but we've always stayed close to the product.
Mhm.
I've done a lot of, so as people know, that we're not just a software, also a marketplace where you can find cleaners to help you manage your operations. I mean, that was kind of one of my biggest problem, was that I wasn't able to effectively find people,
Mhm.
vetted people to work with, because we mistakes are very costly in this industry.
Yeah.
Um, to learn exactly what the experience is and what people go through. I've cleaned places myself, right?
Mhm.
I was. Uh, it's possible that you would have found me on the platform when I came and I cleaned your house, because I wanted to learn what it's like to be a user, and what have this close interaction also with the customer, and their experience. Um, and it's important for us to stress that not only the hosts are our customers, the cleaners are our customers too.
Mhm.
And we treat them with equal regard.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, I think that's a unique side. Um, a lot of the times in the industry, you see service providers serving one user base, whether it's property managers or whether it's cleaning or whether, um, revenue managers or whatever it may be. Um, so the fact that you're serving two very different parties, but they both obviously need each other. Cleaners need property managers need cleaners. Um, what was it like creating this marketplace? Like how did you attract any users on that side? Because you kind of at least I've struggled with this, right? When as a property manager of my own, we have a great solid B2B marketing, strategy. We know our partners, we know the tech, we know this, we know that. But when it comes to B2C, outside of OTAs and some, casual email marketing, B2C marketing is very different. So how did you guys attract the different user bases for Turnover BNB?
I don't know if that's a known term or something that we use internally, but we like to call it kind of like product-led marketing.
Yeah.
We try to invest in the product and the experience, kind of above and beyond what is called for. And in every product meeting that we sit at, we kind of mock up the feature, and then I ask my team, how are we going to do the extra mile in this feature? Like, this
Yeah.
is functional, this is fine, but what's the extra mile? Like, what's that, like, chocolate on the pillow?
Yeah.
That kind of makes it a great user experience. And it is our customers, and both kinds of customers, that promote us, that talk about us, that invite their friend, be like, oh, this is really great, you should use it.
Mhm.
That has been kind of our growth engine, is just really great user experience and customer satisfaction. That is kind of our product led marketing philosophy.
Yeah.
You just invest in the product, and people will reward you for good quality, for good experience.
Yeah. That's a good statement. And it kind of brings to a point I would love to get your opinion on. Because I think it's probably different. Not probably. It is a lot different now after the year we've had with COVID-19 and all this other stuff. But I feel like the overall user experience when it comes to tech, especially from my side, when I was on the hotel side, the user experience is not friendly. Booking platforms and booking engines were not mobile friendly, and it was all clunky, and it was just a pain in the butt to book a hotel room, and all this other stuff. So, going into the user experience side for you, what was the strategy behind it? Was it just, hey, let's just simplify the hell out of it? Let's make it so simple that a 9-year-old could book a cleaner or find whatever they needed to do on the app and platform. Was it simplifying the user experience first and then beautifying it, or was it beautifying it and then simpling it down from there?
I mean, I think it's an evolutionary process. When I look at screenshots of our product from 3 years ago, I cringe. It's how you look at photos from yourself when you were like 11 or something. You're just like, that's embarrassing, or
Damn Facebook memories get you every time.
yeah. It's just sort of like kind of bad haircuts from the 80s. But that's how I feel about kind of looking back. And it keeps going. Like, because I remember 3 years ago, I was looking back at 2 years ago and thinking,
Yeah,
it's an evolution.
for sure.
But the mindset is that you need to simplify things just enough. But you can't take something complicated that is truly complicated and simplify it, because then you are hiding crucial elements of it. Some things are complicated and can't be simplified, so you just have to display them as they are, and always keep it in your mind that people are busy, not going to read. They're just going to go through a certain kind of default path, and you have to make sure that path is kind of forgiving, that you're not making mistakes along the way that you can't backtrack and fix. We make mistakes too, so we go back and review our features and revise and revise and revise and revise, and the first version is never good enough.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I also want to kind of come back to a statement that you said in the beginning of the episode, which is, you got into this really thinking passive income. This is going to be great. I'll sit on the beach, drink a couple margaritas or have a beer and make some money while doing nothing. I think, you and I probably had the same learning experience, which was it's not passive. There's nothing passive about vacation rental management when it comes to doing it professionally and doing it on a scale of one or more. Let's just be honest. If you have more than one property, if you have one property, even still, it's not passive. You can't fully automate this whole thing. So for you, what makes you why can't we have a fully passive income base in this industry when it comes to vacation rentals? Do you think that we overcomplicate everything, or is it just because we're human? We deal with other humans, and at the end of the day, humans are not simple and they cannot be automated to the extreme that we all think.
I think that it can come close to passive, but you need to build a process, and that kind of takes time to do, right? So, for example, around the cleaning, there's a lot of things that can be automated. The scheduling, the quality control, the payments, the restocking. A lot of these things can be put into kind of a cleaning process that we can codify on TurnoverBnB for you, and save you unbelievable amount of time. It just takes a little bit of effort from your part to kind of like put this system into place. Find a few people that you trust to execute it, and from there, there's obviously a lot of things left to do, like promote your listing, interact with the guests to some extent. But it can come close to passive, but it's a process that you,
100%.
that you have to discover, and it's not one fits all. Um,
Yeah, no,
yeah,
I'm trying to figure out who said it. I think it was David Jacoby from Hostfully.
great guy.
Great guy. Yes. The man, myth, and legend, as we have a running joke on the podcast with him. But I think he said earlier today, because today's my recording day, and so we were talking about. He's like, doing the industry report that they do, getting and reading the answers and submissions from a property manager. You're looking at the under the hood of one property management, and when you do that, guess what? It's not one size fits all. It's not going to apply to every other submission. You literally have only seen the inside of one property management company, and that's it. There's nothing magical behind that because it doesn't apply to everybody. So you can't just take one set of data or submission and answers and whatever and apply it to the rest, because again, everyone's running it differently with systems that are different from others, different markets, different everything, and every vacation rental is different from the other as well. So yeah, long story short,
That's a philosophy that we put into our product, which is not everyone is going to be using our product in the same way. So,
yeah.
there's some kind of defaults, but there's so many things you can customize about how you operate your business. So a lot of people have, kind of various forms of relationships with their clean team, with their operations team, different level of trust that they have, different levels of reporting that they want to get. So we build it into the philosophy of the product that different people are going to use it in a different way, and we need to allow for that,
Mhm.
instead of trying to kind of force everyone into the same mold.
Yeah.
Um,
Like putting a square peg into a
that,
circle hole. It's not going to work,
yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah.
Yeah, I like that. And so I don't know. It seems like you're talking about all the different revisions you guys made of the product and the user experience. What has been the biggest challenge or growth that you as a founder or you and your team have faced when it comes to creating a project for such a big and wide and vast and different industry than others? Like we just said, no vacation rental manager is the same. So what's been the biggest challenge for you guys when it's come to creating this product at the scale that you guys have it now?
So, I think one of the major differences between different property managers is like the number of properties that they manage. So we initially started out serving smaller hosts, and then gradually kind of adjusted the product, to the point where you can manage hundreds of properties on it, and kind of rethinking about a lot of the workflows that like make sense when you have 5 properties, but don't make sense when you have 500 properties. And that has been, a struggle, which, I'm glad most of it is behind us, but it's definitely has been a challenge, kind of scaling the interface to accommodate kind of a larger, company that is
Yeah.
managing. That has been a challenge. We're still, um, in the process of making it even easier and kind of seamless.
Yeah.
Um, but a lot of companies kind of start big and then go down. We started small and then go up. And speaking of David from Hostfully, we have a lot of wonderful customers with Hostfully that are integrated. We have a API integration between Hostfully and TurnoverBnB, and it's been wonderful.
That's good. Good to hear. And I may or may not have signed up and started using TurnoverBnB for a couple of our properties before the episode, so I can attest to the user base and the friendliness of it from a property manager standpoint. So I do have to give you guys kudos, and we'll do a little one of these, for. I love it. And now I guess I want to kind of go back to your origin a little bit. When you created TurnoverBnB, were you working a full-time job before? What were you doing before any of this started? You said you were a developer by training, so I'm kind of curious to know a little bit more of your background outside of TurnoverBnB and vacation rentals and all this stuff.
Right. So I went to school for computer science in Israel. So I'm from Israel.
Okay.
I graduated, and then I moved with my then wife to New York City. I worked in the city for a couple of startups. Kind of got the startup bug.
Yeah.
I worked for Nokia for a while in Boston.
Yeah.
Did some interesting things there. Then it was just way too cold in Boston, so I had to move to the warmest place that I could find, which
Makes sense.
in Honolulu. Then I went to business school because I really figured, well, I'm really want to, do some kind of startup, some kind of, something with all this experience that I've gathered. But I don't have like the business training or the financial training. And so the MBA was a really great way, kind of invest in myself, learn what the gaps that I had. And while I was doing the MBA, I was hosting just as a way of, leveraging, my property and making some money while I'm in school. But that wasn't my goal. It was like, to get into this, it was kind of like just fell in my lap.
That's kind of the common, trend I think we see on the podcast with founders, is that we kind of the line has been, I kind of just stumbled into vacation rentals or stumbled into hospitality, kind of ran into it, which is cool because I think the most unexpected surprises can usually be the best in some ways.
Right.
Not all the time, but knock on wood, most of the time they're pretty cool. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. Hosting on the side to creating a very well-known worldwide app that brings hosts and or property managers and cleaners together, which is pretty significant, especially during these days when we have such a shortage, it seems like, in a lot of different areas for good cleaners and all that other stuff that goes into it. So it's pretty impressive.
That's true. I mean, bringing up the shortage issue, I think there are enough people who want to work. You just need, but there isn't a perfect information in the world, right? Like, we're trying to help with that. We're trying to connect everyone that is looking and everyone who wants to work. And it's definitely been booming. And we're very proud of, making our platform a great place to make a living. So there are, thousands of people who count on TurnoverBnB as like the primary source of income for
Mhm.
their families, and that's like just something I'm so incredibly proud of. Is knowing that we're helping all these families and
Yeah.
and all these people kind of build a business, and people build great businesses um, on TurnoverBnB.
Yeah.
You
No,
would
it's
be
really incredible.
surprised, like how much money people are making.
I'm sometimes I question myself. I'm like, man, doing property management is great, but I think I should have gone in like the cleaning business because it's not glamorous work, but man, some of my cleaners are making a killing right now. Way more money than I'm making. So it's yeah, pretty impressive. Not gonna lie. Which is yeah, I question that every night. It's the one thing that keeps me up. Um, I am kind of curious though. Where do you see this going? We 2022. I think we're all feeling very optimistic about, um, just from the 2 years we've had. And so, where do you see this really taking off and creating this future product and company? Where do you see yourself next couple
So
years?
I think for this year, the outlook is also positive from our perspective. I think, like, at least in the US, COVID has nothing on us. I think what's going on right now is it's very short term. In a matter of weeks, it's going to be behind us. And there's all this pent up demand for people to just meet and interact.
Yeah.
There's people that I haven't met in like years, and I'm just in 2 years, and I'm just like, I need to see them, right?
Yeah,
Like, people will
100%.
travel a lot, um, just once there's a little less uncertainty.
Yeah,
And then with regard to our business specifically, um, we're continuing to improve the product, and the more and more there is a compounding effect, because for the most part, I think we delivered a wonderful experience, um, and people can't stop from just telling their friends and spreading it. Um, we've tried as hard as we can kind of to like market ourselves, but we don't even come close to the effect of just like word of mouth and great experience that people share, just old fashioned way or on social media. Um, so we're, bracing for another wonderful year of growth and innovation and improvements. Um,
yeah. Well, it sounds like from your team as well, you guys have quite the road show to hit this year when it comes to conferences and in-person events. It sounds like you guys are going to be a big part of that pent-up demand when it comes to traveling. So it'll be really cool to start seeing a lot of you and your marketing team and everyone else that I've kind of got to meet over the last couple of weeks. It's a exciting time for a lot of companies in our space. Yours is one of them, where it's really cool to finally. I've heard about TurnoverBnB pretty early on from when I started the podcast and getting into the vacation rental space, but getting to finally actually meet you now, it's like, wow, I can't believe I didn't meet you sooner, which is just funny how everything lines up in the way it has. But yeah, I think you're 100% right. And that pent up demand, that I need to meet these people in person, feeling is still there after everyone met at VRMA this last year. I think that's going to carry on throughout. Everyone's planning conference season. Like
I'm excited. I'm excited for to go to every conference that we possibly can go and meet and um, you know bounce ideas and make deals and
yeah,
partnerships, and learn from everyone in the industry. And I think it's going to be an amazing year. We're looking forward to in-person events. Uh,
yes,
we've been locked in our houses for, I'm not really locked, but just conferences haven't really happened
yeah,
past. 2 years, but we were excited to attend.
Yeah.
Any great shows that you were thinking about?
Oh, just a couple. I can't drop announcements yet, but one for sure before VRMA would be a great one that I can think of, and then of course, yeah, VRMA. For me this year, I think me and my team we're going to try to attend a podcast conference for the first time, so that'll be that'll be exciting. Change of
Yeah.
scenery and change of people, which yeah, we'll definitely be learning some stuff to bring back to the show here, but yeah.
We're attending a corporate housing show in Tampa
Okay.
at the end of the month, which is, I think, very interesting because corporate housing and short-term rentals are kind of like sort of merging as an industry. If you think about, I remember I was traveling for work, and they put me up at this like place for 2 months. It was like a corporate housing place, but today they would probably just put me in an Airbnb
Yeah.
or somewhere else. It wouldn't be like a dedicated corporate housing situation. And I think those two industries are kind of merging and have very similar needs.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that kind of brings up a kind of a random question, but more of what are the big trends that are, I won't say that aren't being discussed, but what are some different things that you're seeing? Because you probably see a lot of different moving pieces on the back end when it comes to property managers and their operations versus cleaners and their operations and also their stuff. But what do you see, shifting, like kind of like corporate housing? Is there anything else in the industry that you're kind of putting a prediction on or calling a new shift?
I think there is like a lot more kind of institutional money coming into the industry and kind of strong brands that are like, okay, this is a mature market.
Yeah.
We're going in, like, for example, like, the likes of Marriott and, a few other players have been kind of reaching out to us thinking, okay, like we're going into this business. How do we do like housekeeping at scale, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk. I can definitely help you with that. So there's interesting big players that are stepping in with known brands that I think will be interesting to see how that affects things.
Yeah. We're talking about standardization within vacation rentals or short-term rentals comparatively to hotels, where hotels, when you stay at a Courtyard in Hawaii and you stay at a Courtyard in Boston, guess what? They're going to be pretty damn close to the same. You have the same expectation for shampoo and conditioner and body wash and face wash and washcloths and towels and linen and all the other setups of the room and design and feel. Granted, they are going through like Courtyard's kind of a bad example because they're just finally rebranding it and revamping it after 30 years of not doing anything with the brand. But you have that expectation as a booker, as a repeat guest, whether it's Boston to Honolulu. For vacation rentals or an Airbnb, quote unquote, people don't have that standardization. We don't know what to expect sometimes because it's either an individual host who bought the property, wanted to make some passive income, all this types of stuff, or it's the property management side, where it's probably a little bit more professionalized, but not to that standard. There's still that uniqueness to it, where sometimes the traveler doesn't know what to expect. Do you see that becoming with the institutional, money and players like Marriott and all this other stuff coming into the space? Do you see that going to be shifting towards more standardization across the board, or are you still it's going to be fragmented and different per, again, property manager, host, all that stuff?
I mean, I think obviously, like when you come in with a brand, there's always, the standardization part of it. Like if you go to Marriott, Marriott, you don't have that hesitation. You've booked hotel rooms in a Marriott. It's going to be fine. It's going to be clean for sure, right? Like it's going to be okay. that is, I mean, I know for me, I book vacation rentals when I go on vacation with my family, and I just want to have like more space.
Yeah.
I don't want to pay for 2, rooms,
Or
and kind of,
adjoining rooms that they call suites now. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, just kind of have like all the suitcases on the floor and everything is kind of tiny. And like, I want to be able to like make breakfast and, that for me, that's where vacation rentals shine, is when it's just like, when you need space,
Yeah.
right? When I go to a conference and I just need to put my head down and sleep and have a hot shower,
Yeah.
I go to a courtyard. Like, I don't want to have like an adventure. I just want something close to the conference and just like clean.
Yeah.
You don't even care about the cleaning part, to be honest. And that if you're going to go to courtyard, it's going to be at very minimum. It's just going to be fine.
Yeah.
You're not looking for that great hospitality experience. I think business travel is one thing, and then staying with a family, that's where vacation rentals shine. And it's just because it's just better, right? You have a better, more space. Probably the location is better, and I think it doesn't even have to be standardized. I think, like, as a whole, the industry, as we continue to deliver a good experience, I think customers' expectations are going to align with that, and if you offer a better product in terms of kind of larger spaces, more inviting design, then people won't hesitate. Remember, 10 years ago, be like, oh, Airbnb, what, is someone else going to live there? You don't have that expectation anymore, I imagine.
Yeah. Well, it's just funny to hear the CEO of a cleaning product, not cleaning product, but cleaning app that helps cleaners and hosts connect with each other say, I don't even care if it's clean. It's kind of funny to hear you say that. No, but I totally agree. It's very different when it comes to, like you said, conference. I just want to be close to the venue. I don't want to have to worry about, going too far. I don't need all the space. I just really want a place to lay my head, versus vacation or a workcation or whatever you want to call it. Maybe meeting up a bunch of other entrepreneurs in one-to-one destination, or doing a co-working thing. That's more likely to be a vacation.
A family reunion, like 100%. It's just like hotels are not a great fit for that, right?
No. Yeah, I agree. So yeah, that's a good point to make. Well, I always like to kind of wrap up the episodes with this one and last final question for our guests on the show, and is, if, not that you're going to, but if you had one place to send any listener right now, where would it be? Would it be your LinkedIn profile? Would it be the website, the app store for you guys? Where would you send the one listener? We're obviously going to take everything in the show notes, but if you had one spot for anyone listening right now to go, where would they go?
Yeah, I think our website does a pretty good job at telling our story and taking you where you need to go, whether it's to manage your existing team or find new team members, or mix and match.
I love that. Well, you heard it here first, Slick Talkers. Go ahead, check out the show notes. There's going to be more than one link, but go ahead, check it out. Go to the website, and don't forget to like and subscribe to everything TurnoverBnB and cleaning and property management and everything else that we just talked about. And if you guys have any questions, you can always reach out, and we'll see you all again next week. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you to our show partners for making Slick Talk, the hospitality podcast, possible. We hope you enjoy the show, and we would love to connect with you outside of the podcast. So you can follow us on all of our social media channels for daily hospitality content, or find us on slicktalkthepodcast.com. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. I'm your host, Will Slickers, and we will see you guys all again next week.